I met Joanne. I happened to be out riding around I had a 29 Model A Roadster, and I was riding around in the main street of DeSoto, and I seen these two girls walking down the street. And I stopped and asked them if they'd like to go for a ride. So we talked for a little bit, and they said fine. And I went up, we went in, and they had a swing on the front porch, and I sat down and I started talking to her, and first thing you know, I had my arm around her, and I said that I'd like to see her again and make a date. And so I decided to give her a kiss goodnight, and that was it. That was it, Tom. I was a hook, line, and sinker. I give her a quarter, and I told her, I says, here, you save this. And I says, we're going to get married. We'll save it for a wedding license. And she did, and that's how it started. And then I knew we were both hooked. About 6 or 7 months later, we had saved enough quarters to get a license. So I went over to the priest, his name was Father Dooley, and I told him, I says that we wanted to get married. And he looked at me and he said, well, why don't you just go home and take a cold shower? And that kind of irritated me a little bit because I wanted to get married. Got married by the magistrate, and that's how that all ended up. My marriage was going along great. We was getting along good, and I was working good, and we had a couple kids, and in fact 2 girls. Our life was going along fine, and I decided to buy another Model A. So we joined the Pomona Valley Model A Club, and we used to go every place together, every place. In fact, we even made a trip all the way down to the tip of the Baja.
Growing up with these two was incredible, and I think we didn't understand, all of us grandkids and great-grandkids, what kind of special relationship these two really had.
All of a sudden, I was half asleep, and I heard this moaning and groaning, talking that didn't make sense, you know, mumbling. And I woke up and I turned the light on, and she was incoherent. She didn't know anything. She'd had a stroke. I took care of her for 4 years, and I learned how to roll her hair. I washed her. I give her a bath, and I give her pedicures and fixed her toenails and everything for her, and learned how to iron and cook, and something I had never done. So for 4 years I did this.
We would be at parties, and my grandma, having had a stroke, would really easily be kind of lost as far as what was going on around her. But my grandpa would sit next to her, and he would explain everything that was going on, and he would make sure that she was fully connected to the world she was in, because he loved her so, so, so much that he never wanted her to feel disconnected from her environment. He was so committed to making sure that she was rooted in this world, even though she was removed in some ways. And this emotional connection and emotional commitment, I don't know how I could put that in words.
So then she started getting worse, and that's when I called in hospice. And that was my salvation, because I was, after about 3 years and 10 months, I was really getting down. I lost about 30 pounds, 40 pounds, and hospice came in, and it was almost like I was blessed, because they took such good care of her.
When hospice came in, it really was night and day. And for my grandpa to see that there are people that could love and care for my grandma in a way that he could, and give him a little bit of a breather, and whom he could trust, it was night and day. I think my grandpa started to come back to life in a lot of ways.
and she had a hospital bed, and I'd roll the hospital bed over next to her, and I would hold her hand at night. And every night I'd hold her hand, and she'd wait for me. I never believed that people were like that they could be so caring. And Sue was she was unbelievable. And they took care of her until she passed away. It was sad, but that's how I remember. But she's in a better place, thanks to the VNA, and they've really done a wonderful job, Tom.
I want to thank VNA for giving my family what they did in those last months that my grandma was here. I think what they gave my grandparents and what they gave my grandpa and my grandma and my family, it's hard to really put into words what that meant, that my grandma's last few months were as good as they were. She was really showered with love, and my grandpa was really taken care of as well in the process. And what that gave our family, just to know that my grandma was being taken care of and that my grandpa was being taken care of in the process, was invaluable. And so I just want to say thank you, a big, big thank you for making that happen for our family.